To all the participants of today's conference, greetings of peace. I am Jonel Besmano Buencibello, a professor from Colegio de San Lorenzo. My paper is entitled Ecumenism for Catholic Schools. The Catholic school is seldom seen as part of the ecumenical formation of young Christians. Likewise, ecumenism is seen as a top-level work by the theologians, academicians, and church leaders, leaving a narrow opportunity for young Christians to contribute and to foster ecumenical initiatives. This study affirms that ecumenism is not yet deliberately operative in the schools, and the problems that hinder ecumenical dialogue are not well addressed. This study ventures on the possibility of exploring new customs and attitudes to establish and understand the theology and practice of Christian unity with the active participation and cooperation of the teachers and students in the basic education. This paper attempts to suggest feasible ways to foster ecumenical dialogue even in the earlier stage of one's life, under the auspices of the Catholic school. Allow me to start with a personal anecdote. In 2016, I taught grade 3 students Christian formation. When I was tasked to bring these little ones in a chapel, in a school chapel, to practice songs and gestures for their first communion, I was amazed because of their excitement. But there was a chance when the advisor told the students, especially those who are not Catholic and other Christians belonging to other denominations, to sit at the back and to watch the Catholic students while they are doing their practice, while they are singing and doing some gestures. These students are seated at the back watching and silenced. When the time came that the first communion was done, these students were talking about how beautiful they were in their gown and how handsome they were with their long sleeves and polos. But these non-Catholic students are just watching and listening, not included, alienated, and just there, as if non-existing. This kind of exclusion caught my attention. But everyone seems to be not so attentive with this event, or shall I say of this problematic, because it seems it is a natural phenomenon. But for me, it isn't. And it becomes my baseline for my reflection. Here in the Philippines, young people spend most of their time at school. In the standard K-12 program age bracket, we can describe that an average student had spent 12 years in school at the age of 17. All the learning activities, experiences, encounters, and information will mold the student's character and attitude on how to see the world and how to face the challenges of life. Since one of the fundamental aspects of life is to relate with each other, issues like religious and cultural indifferences may also be settled at the earlier stage of one's life. In the lens of sociology, they said that the problems concerning religious conflicts could be rooted in the early social engagement during childhood years. The Catholic school, despite being an agent in the evangelization of young Christians, is seldom seen as part of the ecumenical formation of young people. From grade school up, the reflections on the role of the school in the ecumenical formation of young people are seldom emphasized. This study, therefore, focuses on the learning how the Catholic school impacts the ecumenical formation of the youth. This answers the question of whether programs can be created in the pursuance of ecumenism in the Catholic schools. For the methodology of this study, my study used a qualitative approach using a conversational method utilizing e-questionnaire answered by 21 students from different schools in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao through snowball sampling, and focus group discussion attended by 6 teachers from different Catholic schools in the National Capital Region via Zoom online application. The collection of data commenced in November 2020 and ended in February 2021. This study follows the framework of the grounded theory, assessing and analyzing certain patterns of answers through open coding, axial, and thematic coding to narrow down information from the lengthy statements of the research participants to a more concise one. As theological paper, this follows a See, Discern, Act format. There were 3 major themes emerged from the information given by the respondents as a result. First is about the status of ecumenism in the Catholic schools. Second is about the reinforcement to the realization of integration of ecumenism in the Catholic schools. And lastly, is about the desire for a Catholic understanding of the theology of ecumenism. In a general sense, it was said by the respondents, both teachers and students, that there were no clear and concrete programs yet on fostering ecumenism in their respective schools. Furthermore, when the respondents were asked whether their school has a mechanism for monitoring the number of enrollees from other Christian denominations, the answers were diverse. Some said that their school has its mechanism for monitoring the number of non-Catholics, while others said that there was none. In most cases, it is the teacher who monitors the number of the other Christian students in the classroom, since it is the teacher who should make necessary adjustments to address concerns including the faith dimension. When religion teachers were asked about their challenges in dealing with the other Christian students, some of the respondents said that they had disagreements and debates. One of them said that other Christian students were heretic to their claims. Thus, the teacher uses the Catechism of the Catholic Church as her tool to correct the errors. Some respondents said that some students from other Christian confessions were confused about the lessons regarding the Catholic faith. The teachers find it difficult to address all the concerns because the lesson should continue based on the syllabus. This kind of incident makes the non-Catholic students puzzled and left behind. One of the respondents boldly said that stigmas, discrimination, and exclusivity are still problematic in teaching the Catholic faith in the presence of students who belong to other Christian denominations. Some of the respondents said that ecumenism shall take more time before it could be accepted and understood by the students, and that there is a need to deepen the foundations of the faith for the Catholic students before engaging in a dialogue with other creedal positions and beliefs. One noteworthy concern raised as a challenge for the teachers was the lack of training for facilitating lessons that are ecumenical in approach. Though some said that the school organized seminars on faith formation for the teaching and non-teaching personnel, most of them said that there was none and that lectures they had were during their collegiate and postgraduate studies. Students, on the other hand, when they were asked about their challenging encounters being in a Catholic school, recounted numerous experiences. Some of the students encountered Christian living education teachers being insensitive to the feelings and beliefs of the non-Catholics, to the extent of being offensive just to defend the Catholic faith. Some teachers were imposing Catholic traditions and not open to suggestions from the students with other beliefs. Knowing the fact, as confirmed by the data, that there were enormous differences between Catholic and non-Catholic Christians, some students felt they were ignorant of what is going on, especially during festal celebrations and liturgy. They could not participate actively and seemed to be bystanders, resulting in the feeling of embarrassment because they were asked to be situated at the back and sit down. One student felt going against the teachings of his or her religion, while others felt that their classmates were difficult to relate with. There was a student who felt unwanted, uncomfortable, and embarrassed because fellow students looked at him as a sinner for not following Catholic practices. The data shows that in some schools, upon enrollment, other Christian students, through their parents, were asked to sign a waiver and consent to uphold and exercise the vision, mission, and core values of the Catholic school, including the willingness to participate in the activities that are explicitly Catholic. While it is true that the Catholic school cannot compromise to stop and limit its activities and operations simply because of the presence of the other Christian students, but it is also good if the school shall consider the legal and natural human rights of the students for religious freedom. Some teachers did not properly address some immanent problems arising in the classroom setting. To enumerate illustrative examples, a student who wanted to express his beliefs about the topics discussed in a catechetical course, but dissimilar to the Catholic faith, was silenced right away. A student was tagged a heretic, while others were forced to make the sign of the cross and to attend the Mass. Students from other Christian denominations should not be forced to attend Mass or to do things contrary to their faith and conscience. The Declaration on Religious Liberty by the Second Vatican Council boldly says, "The freedom or immunity from coercion in religious matters, which is the right of individuals, must also be accorded to men when they act in community. It is also integral to human person to be respected and to experience just dealings with others." Few students encountered insensitive teachers who were defensive on the Catholic faith at the expense of offending the faith of the other Christian students. A certain senior high school student said that she had some teachers who were insensitive about other religions, telling the class about the alleged erroneous beliefs by the non-Catholics without validating or consulting them if the claim is correct. In effect, students from other Christian traditions were embarrassed. The Declaration on Christian Education reminds that teachers should bear testimony by their lives and their teaching to the one teacher, who is Christ. And this should be acted out possessing charity both towards each other and towards their pupils. The information from the respondents cannot deny the fact that there are some teachers who are fundamentalist and insensitive, contrary to inclusivity, mutual respect, and unity, the elements present in ecumenism. After reviewing all the responses, the researcher came up with some viable recommendations to aid the problems. Here are the following activities and programs that can be created in the pursuance of ecumenism in the Catholic schools based on the emerging themes. Conclusion. The Church urges the faithful to avoid a divisive attitude towards the so-called separated brethren, those who belong to other churches. As spaces for learning, Catholic schools are in a good position to form the consciousness of the youth about Christian unity. Dialogue should find its space at the seedbed of the educational system so that the younger generations might be nourished by the grace of God to make it possible that all may be one. Dialogue should not be limited to a top-level interchange of ideas among specialists. The far more important dialogue is shaped by the daily contacts among Christians of all denominations and should eventually become a joint reflection on a shared faith. After all, truth is the same time life, and the union in Christ must be lived by the Church in all its members. Maraming salamat po. Thank you for listening. This is Ecumenism for Catholic Schools. I am Jonel Buensibelio. Thank you.